An engagement is a milestone you celebrate once in a lifetime. A funeral? That could wait. Or so my cousin hissed at me, her smirk slicing into me the night before my husband's burial. Her words didn't just sting, they carved a wound that would never quite heal. And the worst part was realizing she wasn't alone in thinking that way. My name is Ilara Quinn. On the day I laid my husband, Nathan, to rest, the man who stood unshaken by every storm I had weathered, I did it alone. My family, every last one of them, was across town, raising glasses at my sister's glittering engagement party. Not my parents, not my best friend, not even a single sibling sat in those pews. I remember clutching the church doors, staring into a sea of emptiness. The polished wood of his coffin felt colder than the January wind that rattled through the stained glass windows. The pastor's voice broke the silence, but it was the wrong silence, the kind filled not with reverence, but abandonment. Maybe they'll come, I told myself over and over. Maybe they'll slip in late, contrite, ashamed. But the minutes ticked by like cruel knives. The casket was lowered, and still no familiar footsteps crossed that threshold. As the earth swallowed him, I gripped the funeral program so tightly it tore in my hands. Tears blurred my sight, but no sobs came. I couldn't collapse. If I crumbled, there would be no one left to catch me. Then my phone lit up. 36 missed calls. One text that burned on the screen. We need to talk now. Her timing was merciless. Her absence, louder than thunder. At that moment, something inside me froze into something jagged, something unyielding. While I buried love, they toasted champagne and diamond rings. And as I whispered a silent vow into the bitter air, I realized the truth. They had chosen their side. And they would learn, sooner or later, what loss really meant. I didn't answer. I didn't return the calls. My phone trembled in my hand like it was possessed, but I let it suffocate in silence. Strangers offered half-hearted condolences. Co-workers patted my shoulder. Neighbors nodded with awkward pity, and then left. The graveyard grew empty, and so did I. Driving home, the betrayal gnawed deeper than grief. I could almost hear the laughter from the engagement party drifting into my bones. The clink of glasses, my sister's proud giggle, my father's booming toast. They hadn't just skipped his funeral. They had spit on his memory. Later, in my car, I unlocked the phone. The messages blinked back like daggers. This isn't what you think. Pick up. Sorry, I couldn't miss it. You understand, right? Understand? They expected me to understand why they abandoned me in the darkest hour of my life? My chest burned as quiet rage rooted itself where grief had lived. I whispered into the empty car, if this has ever happened to you, say the same in the comments, because I knew I wasn't alone. But unlike others, I wasn't going to stay silent. The next morning, my doorbell screamed through the house, over and over, until it carved into my skull. When I opened the door, my mother stood there, still in her silk dress from the party, the perfume of champagne and celebration clinging to her like poison. We need to talk, she said flatly, as though her voice had been rehearsed. I stared at her, my hand gripping the edge of the doorframe like it was the only thing tethering me to earth. You missed his funeral, she blinked, irritated. Sweetheart, the timing was unfortunate. Your sister's engagement was important. You'll understand one day. I let out a sharp laugh that didn't sound like mine. Important? Champagne and cake over burying the man who loved me more than this entire family ever has? Her face hardened. Don't be dramatic. Life moves forward. My stomach twisted. She couldn't even look me in the eye. And yet, I noticed something flickering beneath her indifference. Not guilt, but calculation. Then came the dagger. We need to settle some matters now that he's gone. Responsibilities, assets. You can't manage it all. Her eyes swept past me into the house. She wasn't there for me. She wasn't there for Nathan. She was there for what he had left behind. I stepped back and forced a calm smile. "Come in, Mom." She exhaled like she had won, but she had no idea I was already planning her defeat. The living room still smelled faintly of lilies from the funeral. She sat prim and polished on the sofa, her tone clipped and businesslike. "Alara," she began, "your husband left behind property, accounts, even company shares. It isn't wise for you to keep them. Your father and I think it best to redistribute." The word redistribute cracked like a whip. "To who?" I asked, though I knew the answer. "To your sister, of course. She's starting her new life. She'll need support. And you're strong. You'll be fine." Strong. Their eternal excuse. Strong meant disposable. Strong meant stripped bare without complaint. I leaned back, never breaking her gaze. "So you missed his funeral for her engagement, and now you want his legacy too." She lifted her chin, her voice edged with superiority. "Don't twist this. Family duty comes first. Don't be selfish." Selfish. The word curled inside me like a knife, but my voice came out cool, steady. "You think I'm selfish because I won't hand over everything he built? Because I won't let you erase him?" She mistook my stillness for surrender. "I'll think about it," I said. Relief flickered across her face. She touched my arm, smug. "Good girl. I knew you'd come around." But the moment the door shut behind her, my whisper cut through the silence. Not a chance. That night, I unlocked Nathan's lockbox. Every document was there. The will, the deed, the contracts. He had left everything to me. Not them, me. His last act of trust, his final protection. The next morning, I called our lawyer, Mr. Harlan. His voice was calm but firm. "Alara, no one can contest this easily, but if they try, be prepared." Prepared. Oh, I was. The storm came quickly. Calls, threats. My father booming about family honor. My sister's smug texts. "Don't make this harder than it has to be." My so-called best friend. "You'll thank us one day." And then the chilling one from an unknown number. "Sign the papers or you'll regret it." But fear had burned out of me at the graveside. Only steel remained. By Sunday, they came pounding on my door. My parents, my sister flashing her diamond, even my best friend trailing behind like a shadow. They sat themselves down, dripping with entitlement. "This has gone far enough," my father thundered. "The assets," my mother snapped. "Your sister deserves her share." "You don't need it all," my sister purred. "Don't be bitter." Bitter. Another knife. I held Nathan's photo to my chest, met their eyes, and said softly, "You left me alone when I needed you most, and now you'll know what abandonment feels like." They froze, irritation flickering into fear. But I didn't scream. I didn't argue. I simply opened the door and gestured. "Leave. Next time we meet, it'll be in ink and law." And when they left, I smiled, because I already knew the truth. They had lost, and soon the world would know it too. By week's end, their perfect image was in shambles. Vendors canceled my sister's wedding services. The funds they'd counted on, locked away, untouchable. Their reputation shredded by whispers of greed. One night the phone rang again. My mother's voice trembled. "Please, Alara, everyone's turning on us. We need your help." I closed my eyes, remembering the empty pews, the silence of his funeral. "I needed you once too, Mom, and you chose champagne." Her sob cracked like glass before I hung up. The wedding went on, a hollow shell of what they had planned. Guests whispered. My sister's smile was tight with shame. As for me, I spent that day at the cemetery, laying lilies on Nathan's grave. I told him everything. How silence had been my weapon, how dignity had been my shield, how their greed had destroyed them without me needing to lift a hand. The wind stirred gently, as though he heard me, and I knew then they hadn't just lost me. They had buried themselves in the consequences of their own choices.